Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of laws of exponents. This is standard A.11B in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 20 of the 2017 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we have a pretty simple expression here, and that is equivalent to x to the n power. We're looking for what is n. So really, we're just trying to figure out, all right, if we simplify that expression, x to the third times x to the negative 17, what happens? Well, there's two different ways we can look at this. We are dealing with the laws of exponents, right? So one thing we can look at, which would work, is if we looked at our mathematics chart or reference materials and we looked in the laws of exponents and we found this one that said product of powers. What this says is a to the m times a to the n is equivalent or equal to a to the, and what you do is you take m and n and you add them. And the key here is the base. So the base is the large number in an exponent, right? That's the bottom number. And then the exponent is the small one that's up to the right. The base has to be the same. So since both of those bases are the same, you can combine them into just simply one base. And if you're multiplying the two expressions, then you would end up just adding the exponents. That's called the product of power. So if we wanted to, we could do that. So we could say, all right, x to the third, and then x to the negative 17. And if we look, same base. So since it's the same base, what we could do is we can say, all right, let's keep that same base, x. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the two exponents. So it's 3 plus, and then negative 17. All right, so 3 plus negative 17. Right, so that's just going to be x to the negative 14th. Okay, so if that's n, then we would say n equals negative 14. If we want to see what this would really look like, we could leave it like this. Another thing we need to keep in mind is what happens when we have a negative exponent. So even though it says x to the negative 14, when you have a negative exponent, visually, this is what it looks like. X to the negative n equals the reciprocal, 1 over x to the n. So that negative exponent actually makes it a fraction, puts it in the denominator, so it's really the reciprocal. So really this is, if we wanted to look at it, it'd be 1 over x to the 14th. But we can go ahead and just, we could just go ahead and enter that negative 14 if we wanted to. Now, another way to look at that is if we started with this negative exponent, right? We could say, you know what, x to the third, and then times x to the negative 17th. That's the same as, I know that's a reciprocal, right? That's going to be the same as x to the third over x to the 17th. We can go ahead and just put that in the bottom. This then brings up the quotient of powers, because we're now dividing. What this says is, if you've got x to the m over x to the n, that's going to simplify to same base once again. Now you end up subtracting the two. Okay, so that means same base, since we're dividing, subtracting the two, 3 minus 17. We've seen that before. This was 3 plus negative 17. This is 3 minus 17. It ends up the same. X to the negative 14th. So we'll just need to bubble this in, right? This is your answer document. Get a plus and a minus over here. First off, make sure you bubble in that negative. Okay, and then we are just going to put in a 14 right here. And then make sure you bubble in the correct digits underneath. Negative 14 is your answer.